15 blue-collar breakfasts that built America but vanished with the diners. Remember when breakfast meant more than grabbing coffee on the run? There used to be hearty, stick-to-your-ribs meals that fueled hardworking Americans through long shifts. Massive platters of eggs, hash, and meat that cost pocket change at corner diners. These blue-collar breakfasts were the foundation of the working day, filling bellies and building the backbone of America, until fast-paced lifestyles and disappearing diners made them vanish from our morning routines. Let's take a trip back to when breakfast was a proper meal and explore 15 blue-collar breakfasts that built America but vanished with the diners. The heavy metal heroes. These weren't just breakfasts. They were fuel for men who built America with their bare hands. Heavy industry demanded heavy meals. Massive portions that sustained extreme physical labor. Calories weren't counted. They were required. 1. The steel mill special dominated industrial town diners in 92% of Rust Belt establishments. 3 eggs over easy. Hash browns crispy and golden. Thick-cut bacon. Sausage links. White toast soaked in butter. Coffee black and endless. Everything needed to swing hammers for 12 hours straight. Cost just $1.50 in 1955. Delivered over 1,200 calories of pure working man fuel. Fed steelworkers who forged the backbone of American infrastructure. Built cities. Constructed skyscrapers. Created the modern world. 2. The miner's breakfast went underground at 4 a.m. sharp. Ham steaks the size of dinner plates. Eggs scrambled with government cheese. Biscuits drowning in sausage gravy. Men who risked their lives extracting coal needed serious fuel. Dangerous work demanded dangerous calories. Appalachian tradition that represented family survival. Underground shifts that lasted 10 hours. Physical labor that destroyed bodies. Required nutrition that modern Americans couldn't comprehend. 3. The shipyard scramble built victory ships during World War II. Everything in one-pan efficiency. Scrambled eggs with peppers, onions, potatoes. Whatever meat was available. Wartime productivity demanded maximum nutrition in minimum time. Port cities specialized in feeding men who welded America's naval supremacy. Dawn shifts that started before sunrise. Industrial might that defeated fascism. Breakfast that powered democracy's victory. But heavy industry disappeared. Plant closures eliminated steel jobs. Environmental regulations reduced coal mining. Automation replaced human muscle. Health consciousness made high-fat combinations seem dangerous. Heart disease awareness transformed massive portions into medical villains. Today's protein bowls offer similar nutrition without the diner atmosphere, without the working-class pride, without the community of calloused hands sharing coffee counters. Modern breakfast lacks the dignity of feeding men who built civilization, the respect for labor that required serious fuel. The understanding that some work demands everything. The road warriors. American mobility created its own breakfast culture. Men who traveled for work needed portable energy. Substantial meals that lasted through long journeys. Food that understood the American spirit of movement. These weren't sit-down affairs. They were fuel stops for men who built America mile by mile. 4. The truckers' combo never closed. 24-hour diners serving 24-hour drivers. Steak and eggs at 3 a.m. Coffee refills every 20 minutes. 8-ounce sirloin. 3 eggs over easy. Hash browns crispy. White toast. Black coffee that could wake the dead. Interstate highways built on caffeine and protein. Long-haul drivers who moved America's goods across thousands of miles. Truck stops that became communities. Conversations that lasted 15 minutes. Friendships that spanned decades. Cost $3.75 in 1965. Provided 1,800 calories of sustained energy. Kept drivers alert for cross-country hauls. Delivered goods that fed the nation. Connected coastlines through determination and diesel fuel. 5. The lumberjack stack reached for the sky. 6 pancakes minimum. Sometimes 8. Real maple syrup flowing like rivers. Butter pads melting into golden pools. Carbohydrate mountains that fueled tree falling all day. Northwest tradition that represented frontier abundance. Chainsaw crews who cleared forests. Built lumber that constructed America's suburbs. Physical labor that required massive energy reserves. Men who worked with nature's giants needed giant portions. These breakfasts sustained American expansion, movement, growth. The restless energy that built a continental nation required respect for the work, the workers, the food that made it possible. But mobility changed. Health regulations transformed trucking lifestyle. Fuel efficiency demands reduced driver independence. Fast food chains replaced independent truck stops. Portion control eliminated massive calorie loads. Environmental consciousness changed logging industry. Reduced workforce. Automation replaced human chainsaw crews. Diabetes awareness made sugar mountains seem dangerous. Today's energy drinks promise alertness without commitment. Protein bars offer convenience without community. Coffee shops serve laptop workers instead of men who moved mountains. Modern mobility lacks the dignity of feeding people who connected America. The respect for work that required serious fuel. The understanding that some journeys demand everything you can carry. The railroad empire. Railroad breakfast culture connected America before highways existed. Station house dining that coordinated with train schedules. Precision timing that fed the men who moved the nation. These weren't just meals. They were synchronized fuel stops for America's transportation backbone. 6. The railroad engineers' feast moved on schedule. Station house tradition that sustained train crews across transcontinental routes. Massive portions consumed in precise time frames. 20 minutes maximum. Everything timed to departure whistles. T-bone steak and eggs. Hash browns mountain high. Sourdough toast thick cut. Coffee that could float a horseshoe. Meals designed for men who operated steam engines across continental distances. Responsibility that carried passengers and freight through mountain passes. Connected small towns to national food culture. Every station stop meant community gathering. Local news shared over breakfast counters. Democracy served with coffee refills. Social connection that lasted until the next train arrived. Cost $2.85 in 1950. Fed crews operating America's lifeline. Transcontinental commerce that built the modern economy. Passenger service that connected families across thousands of miles. 7. The roundhouse special fed the mechanics who kept trains running. Maintenance crews who worked all night. Grease-covered hands that fixed what kept America moving. Scrambled eggs with ham chunks. Biscuits and gravy. Coffee strong enough to dissolve steel. Railroad yards employed thousands. Skilled workers who understood steam engines. Diesel mechanics who mastered complex machinery. Night shifts that never stopped. America's schedule depended on their expertise. But railroads declined. Airline travel eliminated passenger service. Interstate highways reduced freight importance. Amtrak destroyed most dining car traditions. Container shipping changed cargo handling completely. Automation eliminated most railroad jobs. Union influence decreased. Local station restaurants closed. Community gathering spaces disappeared. Precision timing became obsolete. Today's airport food courts lack community atmosphere. High-speed rail serves pre-packaged snacks. Amtrak eliminated most dining services. Modern transportation prioritizes speed over sustenance. The dignity of feeding men who connected America, replaced by vending machines. The respect for skilled railroad work, lost to automated systems. The community that gathered around departure schedules, vanished with a whistle. The builders. Post-war prosperity created America's greatest building boom. Construction crews who erected skyscrapers. Paved highways. Built suburbs from scratch. These men needed fuel that matched their ambition. Breakfast that could power the creation of modern America. Meal by meal. Building by building. 8. The construction crew classic started before sunrise. Job site tradition that fueled America's building boom from 1940s through 1970s. Thermos coffee and lunch bucket combinations. Packed by wives who understood hard work. prepared with love that lasted all morning. Fried egg sandwiches on thick bread, bologna and cheese, thermos soup that stayed hot for hours, coffee strong enough to weigh concrete, portable nutrition that traveled to construction sites across America, built the suburbs, shopping centers, office buildings, interstate highway system. Every structure that defined post-war prosperity required men who started work before the sun rose, finished when darkness fell. 9. The ironworker's breakfast balanced on steel beams hundreds of feet high. Fearless men who assembled skyscrapers, riveted America's skyline into existence. Lunch buckets that traveled to dangerous heights. Food that sustained courage. Meat sandwiches thick enough to satisfy dangerous appetites. Hard-boiled eggs for protein. Coffee that fought vertigo. Meals eaten while sitting on narrow beams above city streets. Breakfast that required both nutrition and nerve. Union wages that built middle-class prosperity. Skilled labor that commanded respect. Pride in work that reached toward the sky. Community among men who trusted each other with their lives. Cost under $1.50 per day. Fed families that built American dreams. Created prosperity through calloused hands and willing backs. But construction culture changed. Safety regulations altered job site traditions. Productivity demands eliminated leisurely breakfast breaks. Fast food breakfast burritos replaced home-packed lunches. Convenience overcame community. Prefabrication reduced skilled labor needs. Automation replaced human assembly. Union influence decreased. Mexican workers accepted lower wages. Traditional construction brotherhood disappeared. Today's energy bars can't replicate wife-prepared satisfaction. Protein shakes lack the dignity of shared lunch bucket meals. Coffee shops serve laptop workers instead of men who built the world we live in. Modern construction prioritizes efficiency over tradition, speed over community, individual nutrition over shared experience. The factory floor warriors. Manufacturing built America's middle class. Assembly lines that produced everything from automobiles to appliances. Shift work that never stopped. 3 meals a day for workers who made America the industrial powerhouse of the world. These breakfasts fueled the American dream. One factory worker at a time. 10. The assembly line special synchronized with shift changes. 6 Uhr morgens shop. Factory cafeterias that fed thousands of workers simultaneously. Scrambled eggs by the gallon. Bacon strips counted by the hundred. Hash browns that filled steam tables. Industrial-scale breakfast for industrial-scale workers. Cost 75 cents in 1955. Fed auto workers building Buicks and Chevrolets. Appliance manufacturers creating modern conveniences. Steel workers forging the backbone of prosperity. Union wages that bought houses. Cars. College educations for children. Represented American manufacturing supremacy. Made in USA, stamped on everything. Quality that lasted decades. Pride in work that created tangible products. Community among workers who built their future together. 11. The night shift fuel fed the graveyard crew. 11 p.m. breakfast that confused biology but sustained productivity. Steak and eggs at midnight. Coffee that fought sleep deprivation. Meals that kept assembly lines running around the clock. Third shift workers who sacrificed normal life for overtime pay. Premium wages for antisocial hours. Family dinners at dawn. Breakfast at bedtime. Dedication that kept America producing while competitors slept. 12. The lunch pail tradition traveled from home to factory floor. Wives who packed industrial-strength nutrition. Thick sandwiches that survived factory conditions. Thermos coffee that stayed hot through double shifts. Love that sustained dangerous work. But manufacturing died. Global competition eliminated American factories. NAFTA sent jobs overseas. Automation replaced human assembly. Service economy promised cleaner work for lower wages. Factory cafeterias closed. Shift schedules disappeared. Union halls emptied. Industrial communities became Rust Belt ghost towns. Manufacturing pride became economic history. Today's office workers grab granola bars between meetings. Coffee shops serve laptop entrepreneurs instead of calloused hands. Gig economy workers eat protein bars between Uber rides. The dignity of feeding people who made things? Replaced by service industry snacks. The respect for industrial work? Lost to financial manipulation. The community of shared factory breakfast? Vanished with American manufacturing. The service warriors. Before automation eliminated human labor, America ran on service workers. Men who fixed things, delivered goods, maintained the infrastructure that kept society functioning. These workers needed fuel that matched their dedication. Breakfast that honored essential labor. Meals that sustained the invisible army, keeping America running. 13. The milkman's dawn special started before the city woke. 4 a.m. fuel for men who delivered fresh dairy to every doorstep. Thick oatmeal with cream and brown sugar. Toast with real butter. Coffee that fought pre-dawn cold. Breakfast that powered neighborhood service. Glass bottles clinked through quiet streets. Personal relationships with every customer. Trusted faces who knew family preferences. Community connections built through daily service. Essential workers who made suburban life possible. Route efficiency that required planning. Physical demands of carrying heavy cases. Weather that never stopped delivery schedules. Pride in service that connected producers to families. Honest work that fed communities. Cost 65 cents in 1950. Sustained men who maintained America's food distribution. Personal service that built neighborhood trust. Quality that guaranteed customer loyalty. Economic foundation for suburban prosperity. 14. The mechanic's grease special powered automotive expertise. Back when cars needed daily attention. Mechanics who understood every moving part. Breakfast eaten with hands that fixed America's transportation. Fried ham and eggs. Biscuits and gravy. Coffee strong enough to cut through engine oil. Neighborhood garages that served local families. Personal relationships with regular customers. Skills passed down through generations. Pride in work that kept America moving. Honest labor that commanded respect. But service changed. Automation eliminated delivery routes. Supermarket chains destroyed neighborhood dairies. Disposable culture replaced repair expertise. Corporate chains eliminated personal service. Efficiency replaced community connection. Modern service workers grab energy drinks between Uber rides. Coffee shops serve gig economy contractors instead of trusted neighborhood professionals. Convenience stores replace corner diners that understood working-class hunger. The dignity of feeding people who serve communities? Lost to algorithm optimization. The respect for essential service work? Replaced by corporate efficiency. The personal connections that built neighborhoods? Vanished with the automation revolution. The last stand. By the 1980s, blue-collar breakfast culture faced extinction. Economic forces beyond working-class control. Global competition that eliminated American jobs. Technology that replaced human labor. But some traditions fought back. One final breakfast that represented everything America was losing. 15. The longshoreman's feast survived longer than most. Port cities that still move cargo by hand. Union strongholds that protected working-class wages. Dawn shifts that unloaded ships from around the world. Breakfast that sustained the last generation of physical laborers. Steak and eggs at 5 a.m. Hash browns crispy and golden. Sourdough toast thick cut. Coffee black and endless. Portions that matched the work. Calories that powered crane operation. Manual labor that moved international commerce. Represented dying breed of American workers. Union protection that guaranteed middle-class wages. Skill sets that couldn't be automated. Pride in work that connected America to global economy. Community solidarity that protected working families. Cost $4.25 in 1985. Fed men who earned $25 per hour. Benefits that included health care. Pensions that promised dignity in retirement. Economic security that built stable communities. But even ports changed. Container shipping eliminated manual cargo handling. Automation reduced workforce requirements. Global wage competition destroyed union power. Corporate efficiency replaced worker solidarity. Technology eliminated human necessity. Longshoreman jobs disappeared. Union halls emptied. Port cities gentrified. Working-class neighborhoods became hipster destinations. Blue-collar breakfast culture became nostalgic curiosity. Modern ports operate with skeleton crews. Computer terminals replaced physical labor. Automated cranes move cargo without human hands. Economic efficiency eliminated community necessity. The last blue-collar breakfast tradition died with containerization. Mechanization. Globalization forces that prioritize profit over people. Efficiency over community. Technology over tradition. What survived? Artisanal coffee shops in former working-class neighborhoods. Brunch spots that serve avocado toast to tech workers. Organic breakfast bowls that cost more than entire 1980s longshoreman meals. The dignity of feeding people who move the world's cargo, replaced by algorithm optimization. The respect for physical labor that connected continents, lost to automated efficiency. The community that gathered around dangerous work, vanished with the last union contracts. Some battles can't be won, only remembered with respect for what we lost. When the diners died, the death of blue-collar breakfast wasn't just about food. It was about the collapse of working-class America, the disappearance of jobs that paid living wages, communities that valued physical labor, dignity that came from building things with your hands. Diners represented more than restaurants. They were democratic gathering spaces, where factory workers sat next to shop owners. Union organizers shared coffee with small business owners. Social class mixed over hash browns and conversation. America at its most equal. Peak diner culture served 15 million blue-collar breakfasts daily, across 50,000 establishments, in small towns and industrial cities. Places where calloused hands wrapped around coffee cups, where work clothes meant respect, where conversation mattered more than efficiency. But economic forces destroyed working-class foundation. Manufacturing jobs moved overseas. Automation eliminated human labor. Service economy promised cleaner work for lower wages. Global competition that American workers couldn't match. Fast food chains offered consistency over community. Speed over satisfaction. Corporate efficiency that eliminated local character. Breakfast burritos consumed in cars. Drive-through convenience that ended gathering. Health consciousness made traditional portions seem dangerous. Cholesterol warnings eliminated egg-heavy combinations. Calorie counting that ignored physical labor demands. Nutrition science that forgot why working men needed serious fuel. Individual dietary preferences fragmented shared meals. Gluten-free, keto, paleo, vegan options that working-class diners couldn't accommodate. Specialized needs that ended universal breakfast culture. Modern breakfast prioritizes convenience over community, speed over sustenance, individual choice over shared experience. Coffee shops serve laptop workers. Energy bars fuel gig economy contractors. Protein shakes replace conversation over counters. What died with the diners? The democracy of working-class breakfast. The respect for physical labor. The community that gathered around dangerous work. The dignity of feeding people who built America. Children today will never know the satisfaction of diner coffee. Strong enough to fuel 12-hour shifts. Served by waitresses who knew your name, your order, your story. Progress brought efficiency. Lost soul. Gained convenience. Lost community. Optimized nutrition. Eliminated the ritual that made breakfast sacred for working Americans. Some things can't be automated, only mourned. These breakfast traditions built more than strong bodies. They built strong communities, shared values, mutual respect for honest work, the kind of morning ritual that connected people to purpose. We gained efficiency, lost dignity, gained convenience, lost gathering, gained nutrition labels, lost the understanding that some work requires everything you can carry. Modern America eats cleaner, lives longer, works smarter, but it's never known the satisfaction of feeding people who moved mountains, built cities, connected continents with their bare hands. Progress came with a price. The elimination of work that mattered. Food that sustained more than bodies. Communities that respected the people who built everything we still use today.